Hi, everyone. Welcome to Progressive HR Live. I'm your host, Kareen Woodman Hollebeck, and today we're going to be talking about the AI movement, or specifically the AI enablement movement. And I'm here with Priya Poonia, who is the AI coach with IBM. Hi, Priya. How are you today?
Hi, I'm really doing great. Had two sessions, one in the morning and afternoon, so already excited for this one as well. So yeah, how are you? How's the weather in US?
Oh, goodness. Depending where you are in the US, it is either really, really cold or just cold. So it is not a warm February day. Where are you
Oh
streaming
yeah,
from, Priya?
I'm from Frankfurt right now, and it's really cold here, but I guess we have been lucky for last 3 days. It's been sunny, and I love the sun, so it's not so depressing and yeah, bright, I would say.
Oh, lucky. It was sunny for us yesterday, but still in the negatives, like negative 27
Oh
Fahrenheit,
wow.
not Celsius.
Okay.
Fahrenheit.
Okay. Okay. You just lost me at this point, but yeah, nevertheless. Okay. Yeah. But here it's somewhat like -5 degrees Celsius in the night, and morning goes maximum at 5 or 3 somewhat, but still super cold to go out in the evening for a walk. So yeah.
Well, yeah, that is cold. That is cold for Celsius.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. If you have not already, go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're streaming from. Is it really, really cold where you are right now, or is it just plain cold? And we're going to go ahead and ask you all an icebreaker related to AI, because of course our conversation today is about the AI enablement movement. And then we are going to go ahead and check in with you. Introduce yourselves and go ahead with the icebreaker. So here's our icebreaker. We want to know, Priya and I want to know, how many times a day does the average person interact with AI? So how many times a day do you think the average person interacts with AI? So go ahead and also add that to the comments. So I see a bunch of comments coming in, so we're going to go ahead and jump there. Okay, so it is Michelle from Texas. Good morning, everyone. Stay warm, Karina. Yes. And Michelle says she is streaming from Dallas, Fort Worth, and it's really cold for Dallas. It's 12 degrees. And again, that's 12 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
Okay.
All right, so everyone, go ahead and add the answer to the icebreaker in the comments. What do you think is the average amount that someone uses AI during the day? Priya, what do you think? Or actually, and I'm not asking what you think. I know that you know this question. How many times a day does the average person interact with AI?
So on an average, it's somewhat 15. So if we take a range, it's a 10 to 20 times a day on an average a person uses an AI tool. And I see it as a not as a huge number, to be honest, because I'm also one of them on the upper range of it. So I use AI tool on a very, very high number of times a day. But what do you think, Corney? How many times do you use on an average? I know nobody keeps a check on it, but what's your number?
Oh gosh, are you asking an average per day or per week?
I would say as in per day. For myself, I'm saying it as in per day. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So on average, I would say I use it about 10 times a
Mm.
day between everything
Yeah.
that I'm interacting with.
hmm Yeah, well, I would say when we say interacting with AI tool, it can comes with, not just using ChatGPT. It's all about if you are using or watching something on Netflix, it's going to recommend back to you via the AI search tool at the back. Or if you are looking forward to any of your smart assistant on your phone or somewhere else, they're also using an AI as their backend. So you don't have to specifically think of, okay, whether I have used ChatGPT today or not. So you don't have to always, keep those tools in the mind while we are asking this question, right? So yeah.
So we've got a few more people joining us. And audience, if you're just joining us now, this is the AI Enablement Movement, and we're talking with Priya Poonia, AI coach with IBM, and we're talking all about AI today. So get your questions ready. We're going to go ahead and jump to the audience. A few more people have introduced themselves. And yeah, if you're just joining us now, introduce yourself in the comments. Let us know where you're streaming from, and what do you think the average person, how many times a day does the average person use AI? So going to Samantha. Samantha says hi. She's from Colorado. It's 0 degrees here, and I think the average person interacts 4 times a day. Awesome. And Michelle answered, since our average covers a wide spectrum, including non-users, I would say just a few to balance out heavier users. That's great, Michelle. Thank you.
Yeah, people like us, maybe. So yeah, trying to balance it out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it depends what I'm working on too. Sometimes I'll like use it up to 30 times a day. I don't use the pro plan on ChatGPT, so it kind of like kicks me out after like eight prompt iterations. It says, yeah, you're done now. You're done. Go take a break. Sean says hi from Fairfax, Virginia. Thank you. Oh, and Sean's reminding me this is also a networking conversation. So if you have not already, like Sean, go ahead and drop your LinkedIn profile in the comments so we can all network with each other, because that's why we're on the live today, for networking. Well, and to learn about AI too.
Yeah.
And Vivek says 30 times perhaps. Vivek, where are you streaming from? Let us know. And Sean, oops, almost, there you go, Sean. So it is 22 degrees minus 5.6 Celsius here.
Thank you, Sean, for keeping my request on the mind of mentioning the temperature in Celsius here.
Oh, and then Vivek is streaming from Belgium, minus 4 Celsius. And I'm sorry, I cannot see the name. Provalka, I think maybe Provalika, maybe, from Saarbrücken, Germany. So, and she says that, oops, hold on, likely interact with AI 20 to 50 times a day from autocorrect. Yep.
It's really
Voice
important.
assistants, all without a coffee break. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And oh, and then Vivek says again 30 times. Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. So this is a conversation about the AI movement and AI enablement. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop your question into the comments, and we're going to go ahead and answer your questions in the flow of this conversation that Priya and I are having. And feel welcome to have a conversation amongst yourselves and introduce yourselves to each other by adding your LinkedIn profile. And we are going to start with our first question for Priya. And first of all, Priya, I have to say thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your knowledge with us. Those that know that this has been a long time in the mix. We started back in November trying to put this together.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, thank you to you as well for hosting it and for reaching out. And I really love this opportunity where I get more, a platform where I interact with more people and make them understand that AI is something that can work for you instead of replacing you, I would say, right? So yeah, let's move forward.
Let's go forward. Let's go forward. Okay. So my first question to you that just kind of popped out. One moment. Okay. Before we talk about being AI ready, what does AI mean? Like, what is the definition of AI?
So I don't want to go more in, the technical aspect of it and keeping it more simple. Let's discuss what it is not. Okay, and then I will come to what it is. Okay, so I see AI is not a magic. It's built on algorithms, data, lots of computing power. So it's not a magic. It's not the Harry Potter magic wand where you swing it and everything happens, right? Another thing, what it is not equal to human intelligence, I would say. It can stimulate or it can simulate reasonings, but at one point it lacks some emotions, though there are a lot of scientists and researchers working towards it, but it somehow lacks those emotions, those human common sense, and especially the real world experience, I would say. And now coming to what AI is. So I see AI is a tool that can enhance your productivity, that can enhance your automation. It will help you in making more, you know, uh, more profound decisions. It's going to help you in decision makings. It's going to help you in problem solvings when you use it responsibly. This is more of like a disclaimer. It is, yeah. And then I would say AI isn't perfect. I would say AI is more of like your add-on, you know. You can use it in your day-to-day life. It can be biased at one point. It can make errors. It can require human oversight. But if we understand everything all together, we say AI is a tool which is there to help you, to improvise you, to to make you grow out there in the world. It's your buddy, it's your assistant at the end of the day.
Thanks, Priya. We have a few comments that have just come in, so I'm going to go over there. And Samita says, hey, good to see you. I can't really keep track of how many times I use AI. It's a huge number. Thank you. And going back to our questions. And again, audience, if you have any questions for myself or Priya, go ahead and add those to the comments and we'll answer those questions in the flow of our conversations. So this is kind of a large question. It's actually a two-part question. How can individuals effectively navigate AI both in their professional roles and in their personal lives? And is there key differences in how AI is applied in both these contexts?
Okay, I would say, as you said earlier in the previous question, that being AI ready, with that you asked me what exactly AI is, right? Now, now we have understood what AI is. As you said, now the second part comes in how we prepare for it, like how it will bring the change. What I see is in terms of professional and the personal life, all the people should develop the AI literacy. So that should be the first and the foremost step, I would say, because if you lack those literacy level or, you know, the AI understanding, you won't be able to leverage it to the maximum percent, let's say. And by learning how AI tools are used in your industry or in general, you can experiment with those AI powered applications and you can stay updated on the trends. And you know, you and I have been talking about a lot that how the AI trends keep on changing like this, you know. The one moment you skip on LinkedIn and there's something new happening, right? So you have to keep yourself updated. First, obviously, AI literacy, then you keep yourself updated. And AI isn't just about, you know, um, uh, replacing humans or something. It's about augmenting our capabilities, right? So the first step is shifting our mindset from fearing AI to embracing it as a tool that helps us work smarter, work more efficient and productive. So that's what I see it is. And then when you say personal and the professional, I would give you a very wonderful example. On a personal level, I use AI tool on everything. My diet has been planned by my AI tool. My all my emails that I write, always have a separate chat as in personal assistant 101. I always tell it to my audience in my workplace wherever I give the session that always keep your dedicated chats and start chatting with it. Start understanding how it responds with each and every prompt you write. When I say prompt, it's more of like everything that you give as an input to an AI tool, it's called a prompt. So whatever you write to it, start understanding it. And then it could be possible that once you write a prompt and it doesn't generate an output the way you want it to be, then you start understanding why it is happening like this, why there is something like this. And this term, this curiosity why, is actually, you know, the point which will bring you towards the idea of now I need to be more AI literate. Now that's where the people like me come in the place where we help the organization, the employees, the audiences, everybody around to get the confidence with the terminologies or the umbrella of AI, let's say. So yeah.
So I have to apologize. I actually jumped ahead one question, but then Priya saved me by answering the question that I was supposed to actually ask. So I was supposed to actually ask, what does it mean for professionals to be AI ready, and what are the first steps that they should to take and achieve this readiness? So Priya, I apologize, and could you summarize again? What are the first steps to take to be achieve AI readiness?
Yes, yes, for sure. So readiness comes with the mindset of, that I want to learn this one. Second, it comes with the AI literacy itself. So readiness comes when you are prepared yourself that I need to emphasize more on upskilling myself or developing that AI knowledge base for myself, learning how to work with AI, rather than fearing from it, I would say, or maybe encouraging that adaptive mindset that I will anyhow let the AI continuously evolve my lifestyle or evolve my work experience or something like this. So this mindset of, or this culture of, this creating the culture within yourself, that I need to learn this, I need to understand this, what exactly they are. You don't have to go so much in depth within it, but all that you can do is just start learning with the basics, or go ahead with all those courses which are already there on YouTube or somewhere else, understand the key terms, and then start prompting right away.
So we had a question from Smita, and the question is, what are the topics that should be included in AI literacy, in your opinion, as a starter? Because AI is a very broad domain, and people coming from different backgrounds can find it difficult to understand.
Yes,
Thank you for the
totally.
question.
Yes, it happens that sometimes people get lost within the umbrella of AI. It is too huge. But if you are somebody who doesn't come from this background, I would suggest you to start understanding the key terminologies within it. What is AI? What is ML? What comes under it? The deep learning DL, and also the large language models, which are really in a huge hype these days, the generative AI models. And once you understand these terminologies, you start understanding the various aspects of the prompting. You start prompting with your AI tool. Then you understand the different pitfalls that comes along. For example, there are cases where the AI tool does not have that reference content. For example, if I'm asking it about 2026 forecast of something, for example, but I haven't given it enough data for that particular prediction that it has to make. So it could be possible that it starts doing the hallucination. So you need to understand such pitfalls as well, why it is behaving like this. You need to understand what kinds of warnings I need to keep in my mind. For example, I always let all my audience know that you have to understand the three key warnings. The first one is you don't have to be rigid. You have to be flexible while writing your prompt, for example. The second one I always give is always stay in the context. For example, if you have started one chat, you have to always stay within the context of that chat. Do not abruptly change the content. Could be possible that your AI tools start responding back in not the right way, and then you get confused. Okay, so now this tool is broken or what? You will start questioning it, right? So this happens. And the last but not the least, always fact checking. We cannot 100% rely on the output generated by an AI tool. So these are a couple of things that I always make my audience understand. And this is maybe more of like a kickstart for you to start from, to understand the functionality of AI, how you can leverage any tool via prompting, for example.
So, as an example, how I started with ChatGPT, and like right when it came out, back, what was it, 2 years, 2 years ago? Oh my gosh, it's been so long. And I just started asking it questions. And because I'm on LinkedIn a lot, I asked it to start creating LinkedIn posts for me. So this is back when it was okay, in the LinkedIn world to have AI generated posts, because very few people were doing it. So I just
Mhm.
asked it simple things. And then as the model became more refined and more advanced, I saw that patterns started to develop, and I didn't necessarily like the patterns. So
Mhm.
I kept asking it more and more like questions in creative ways. So I look at it as that it's learning from you and you're learning from it.
Mhm.
Or, if you want to name your chat GPT, which a lot of people have been doing it to make it a little bit more relatable.
Mhm.
And so, as Priya suggested, it's just important to pick a model amongst the models that are out there, maybe the one that's most accessible or the one that's free. I don't think you can necessarily go wrong because you're just starting. Pick a model and just start with it, and then think about how you can learn from it, learn from the model and practice. So it's not going to give you what you want right away.
Yes, totally. Very well said. So somewhere you have to start your journey, I would say, and there is no right and wrong in it. It all starts with, the moment you feel, okay, why is it happening? The moment you ask yourself why, you start finding the solutions for it or finding the reasons behind it, and you are already deep into AI that you will not even notice it. So it all depends upon for you. You don't have to bridge, the barrier or the lines that this is the boundary that I have to stay in order to understand AI. It doesn't go like this. It all depends upon which interest that builds up within you, whether you are more curious about how for example ChatGPT produce an output, or what kind of data set it has been trained on, or do I have the facility to make it more smarter or advanced, or do I have the facility to make it more customized for myself? Can I changes the parameters in it or something like this? The more curious you get around a particular section, go deep into it, understand it. There is no hard rule in it that you have to follow only these guidelines and then and only then you can start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So I think you make a great point is that there's the point about understanding chat AI, there's no rules around it, right? There's ethics around it, but there's no rules around it. There's no right or wrong. And there is no, it's not, nothing's easy. It's not an easy thing. So it's not like you just say a very simple prompt and it'll give you what you want. You have to work at it.
Yes, totally.
So we have a question from Michelle. And Michelle asks, does ChatGPT remember your previous information, tone, etc., from previous searches? If so, how far back does it remember if you use the free version? Or do you need to preface each prompt with the background information? Or do you keep a list of prompts with your background open in a document that you can repeat? Great questions, Michelle.
Yes, very
Here, I'll
well
leave that up
listed,
there.
all the questions up in there. Starting from the one by one. Okay, so does it remember your conversation? So what happens is when you interact with the chat GPT, even on the free version, you will start creating some chats on the one side of it, if you can see it on the screen. And then I would always recommend that if, for example, what I do, I have a chat created for my diet plan 101. So I always ask it about my diet in it. So this is my weight, and today I weigh this much, and I had a bloated and blah blah blah, and it always understands my body, my everything. So there's a chat recorded, and I don't have to refer back. Okay, 2 days ago I was like this, and now I'm feeling like this. So this doesn't go like this. Okay, so it's going to save you a lot of time. Another example I can give you, I have another chat which is called Personal Assistant 101, where I talk about all the emails that I write or any message that I have to write in it. Now, it has been years, I think more than 2 years, that chat has been created, and now it has understood from depth. I think from inside out, the ChatGPT knows me more than my own husband. So what kind of um, personality she has? Does she like everything to be bullet pointed or precise or more business, written or executive summary kind of a thing that she's into? And it's going to start, providing me the outputs for which I don't have to think twice at all. So it happens. So you have to keep a chat going on like this. This is my personal suggestion for you. And then the second question was, how far does it remember? So what happens is it doesn't have to, remember all the chat. What happens is when you start chatting with it, it's going to learn from your own chat. It's going to learn it from its memory. For example, what happens is I interact with Korean name, so I know what person she is, where she's coming from, because I had two interactions with her, and then this information is back there in my memory. The same thing happens with an AI tool. It understands and stores the key information back there in the memories, and then it's going to interact back to you. There is I am not at a position to give you actual number of how much of information it's going to store for one particular chat. So maybe you can Google it. You can try to Google it, but I'm not the right one to comment on it, I would say. Then there is another part of it. Do you need to preface each prompt with background information? Okay, so what happens is sometimes you can either refer to the information that you might have given a couple of days ago, but even though if you do not refer it, it sometimes also remembers it. But it also sometimes acts as a child that you have to give it a pre-cooked food to understand it. It happens. So you don't have to be scared that, okay, for her it works out without referring it, and for me it doesn't. You don't have to worry about it. Just play around with your AI tool, understand it, how it reacts with you, and then it's going to react the same way back to you. Then the last part of your question was, do you keep a list of prompts with your backgrounds open in a document that you repeat? No, I do not. I just write my feelings out there in the prompt in the prompting section. For example, if I have to write an email to the host of this progressive HR, I would say, okay, right, yeah, I write it simply. Okay, write this email that I have curated all the things, all the key facts that we can discuss in this session, and plus also write there are some open points. Let's connect over a call. This is what I write. This is a simple thing that I can say directly to her. Right. I write this one in the AI tool, and it's going to generate the prompt. Sorry, the output for me. What you can do if you are not sure, if you're so concerned about writing a prompt, I always say there is no good and a bad prompt. But if you are always concerned about writing a prompt, try writing this line that I just said, and also write, now create a perfect prompt for me. So you can leverage an AI tool to write a prompt for you. So there's many ways to play around it. So this happens. There were a couple of times that I was giving a session and I had some prompting tasks for the people. And instead of, uh, writing the prompt by themselves, they used the AI tool to write the prompt. So I was amazed. I was more shocked than ever. So I was like, okay, so there are smart people there as well. So yeah.
And I've often find that if it has something that's not correct, I'll say, forget that. Or if
Yeah.
I want something called out, I say, remember this. So remember this or forget that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and I agree with you, Priya. I think sometimes my ChatGPT knows more about me than I know about me, because I was writing a prompt the other day
Mm-hmm.
about pitching, because sometimes my ChatGPT suggests things. So I said, write out this email
Mm-hmm.
about, let's say, brand partnerships. And
Mm-hmm.
then the ChatGPT wrote it out and then said, would you also like me to write something for you to pitch for a brand partnership? And I was like, well, that's a really good idea. And I said,
Yeah.
yes. So yeah, go ahead and write that out. And it wrote things about me that I don't even necessarily write about me, but it's somewhere
Yes.
on the internet, somewhere, something about me that I completely forgot. So it's purely miraculous that it remembers all that.
Yes, completely. And there are times when I sometimes use AI tool to generate a couple of, the speaker introduction script for the people that I'm supposed to introduce for my next sessions, for example. And I use it for a couple of times. I used it and it understood that I need some executive introduction, but I need to have one line humor in it. So every time it, without even asking for it, there's always a one line humor in it so that people laugh. So I am always amazed on this point. Okay, so it remembers more than my own husband, so I like this part.
So I've got two questions from Vivek, and I'm going to kind of put them together. Vivek asked, I would like to know how to create your own ChatGPT, and then also any guidelines on how to customize it for a specific topic, how to customize ChatGPT for a specific topic.
Okay, so what happens is if you're creating something from scratch is going to be a really huge tiring work because ChatGPT is using a model which has been trained a massive amount of data, I would say. So it's going to be a huge work. If you are going to start from there, I would say then you have to build a large language model where it has been trained on a particular data set, and then you start working with it. But if you don't want to do this work, then you get a version, a subscription of the ChatGPT where you get an API call. So you create your own interface. Whenever there is a request, for example, I have created a chatbot for myself. I'm creating a chatbot. I'm writing everything in it, but at the back of it, it is making a call to ChatGPT. So this is what you can do. And now how to customize it. When I say customize, now you already have the API call to the ChatGPT. You have already done it. You train it on your desired data. For example, I want it to get trained on my diet plans, my weight history, for example. I list down every data that I have in Excel form, data form, everything. I train my that particular ChatGPT model of mine on that particular data, and every time now I write anything with respect to the diet history, it's going to respond me back based upon the data, the reference data it has been trained on. This is how you can customize it.
Thank you. And then I just wanted to point out, Beth White's offering us a free resource. If you want to learn more about the importance of responsible and ethical AI for HR and the workplace, feel free to join our LinkedIn group called Ethical AI for HR. Perfect. And on that note, I wanted to go back to the questions. And we do have a question about the ethics of AI coming up. But I'm going to roll into the one. Let's see here. We're going to do we're going to skip one of them and we're going to go to this one. So what are some of the common challenges organizations face when integrating AI into workflows, and how can they address these barriers to foster more innovation?
Well, there has been so many meetings where I get this, the key challenge, I would say, which is the human replacement, which everybody's facing at this point. When I say human replacement, or in general, everybody's scared that, we have this fear of job displacement. We have this fear that they're going to replace us. And because of this bubble, this fear, one of the biggest challenge that organization faces in AI integration is employee resistance, which comes because of this fear of job displacement, fear of my own replacement or losing a job or something like this. And now, how to overcome this? The only way to overcome is as much transparent communication that you can do as much as possible. Let your employee, your end user know that there is nothing to be afraid of, and how you let them know. Maybe releasing newsletters to let them know, okay, this is what we are doing. So many people are already using it and they are happy about it. First, like this, or upskilling programs where you let them know all those enablement programs that IBM also conduct with a lot of clients, where we showcase the employees that how AI can assist them rather than, replacing them. This is really a huge, a turning point for those organizations that they can leverage the AI. What happens? I will give you this example. So there was this one organization, they have invested millions of dollars into integrating the AI tools into their strategies, the organizations, and everything. Yet, what they lacked in is letting all the people understand how to use it. Now, though they have the AI tools out there in their own organization, but nobody knows how to use it. So does it really was it really worth it? I would say no. Can they improvise this? Yes, by upskilling those employees. So that is what I see as a biggest challenge. And then the other aspects comes as in like AI bias, some data privacy issues, or maybe scalability issues or something, like the AI adoptions with the right talent or infrastructure, something like this comes up. There are more minor things, but the main thing that comes as a fear is, I would say, the job displacement. That comes as a main fear.
So it's, in my opinion, it's not necessarily that jobs will be displaced, that just that they will change. Jobs will change, and more jobs will be available because of artificial intelligence.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Now, think of it. Now that you are at a point where for example, I take an example of some office support assistant person. She always, there's an ex-person, she's always involving with, getting the meeting notes, preparing the next meeting agendas, planning everything for this particular department. And this is a lot of labor work, I would say. You can use the Microsoft 365 Copilot for it to create the meeting minutes, action items, deliveries, deadlines, everything just in a second. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's not going to replace you because at the end of the day, we need a human supervision or a human assistant with the AI tool. So don't worry on this. And as you very well said, it's not about displacement, it's all about enhancing it. It's about, there are more opportunities of creating new jobs rather than, declining the jobs. There is a very good example. My manager in the current project said, back then when the candles were getting used by everybody, and then there was this one person who invented the tube lights. They set up the tube light factory. Everybody revolted it because they said, okay, this thing is going to eat up the jobs of the candle people, those people who are building up the candles. But now, are we using the bulbs and the tube lights and everything? Yes. Is it helping us? Yes. So that's a way of seeing AI, I would say.
Yeah, and I like that too. I like your example of the office manager. So the office manager, was taking notes, was sending out all these emails. Maybe they liked it, maybe they didn't, but most often they probably thought that it was just a really dragging work, and that they really wanted. They had all these ideas. They had all these ideas about how because they've been listening to these meetings for so long. I'm creating this own narrative from bouncing on what you said. And now, with the help of AI, they can infuse their ideas. They can be more creative with their position. And so, again, it's not, as to your point, AI is not displacing. It's changing and improving. So I like that.
Totally.
So we're coming up on 10 minutes to our closing of the conversation. And so I wanted to jump ahead to this question because this is my favorite question. What is AGI, and why is the 03 model or the O3 model
Yeah.
hyped right now?
Yeah, totally. This ever since the O3 model was out there in the market, AGI terms was clinging on everywhere. So AGI is more of like, the artificial general intelligence. When I say general intelligence, it means it refers to any AI tool that possesses closer to a human-like cognitive abilities, or maybe human-like behavior. Closer, like as much closer it has the capability to be closer to the ability of a human. It's more of towards the artificial general intelligence. It's more of like, you enable any AI tool to understand, to learn and apply those knowledge. When I say knowledge, applying it, everything you will think of, okay, ChatGPT can also do, other models of the ChatGPT can also do. But no, when we are thinking of it, it can do more complex stuff. Unlike the narrow AIs that we see out there, the chatbots or the some recommendation algorithms, AI would be more capable of reasoning, the problem solving, or adapting to the new situations without needing a task specific training. So that's what AGI is really, really about. Now, before we jump to why O3 model become hyped, we need to understand on what basis O3 model become to an hype? So for that, I would want you to understand the ARC benchmark. So I don't remember the full form of this abbreviation, but ARC AGI benchmarks are, like set of rules or set of hurdles or set of tests that an AI system has to crack to understand its ability to perform more of like a human-like abstract reasoning or something like this. Now, O3 model really did a very amazing job. It did struggle somewhat on some of the ARC tasks, but O3 model did stand out on a couple of things. Like it was able to do more reasoning, complex mathematical stuff more in details. It was able to, understand the novel concepts more in detail. So O3 model has been able to did it, I think, up to it scored somewhat 83 or 73%. I forgot the exact numbers. Something like this, it was able to crack. So that's why O3 become as in hype. Everybody was talking about, have we already reached the AGI? Have we already reached to the point where, the robots are going to take us over? This is what I read all over on the LinkedIn the
Yeah.
moment the O3I model was released. So everybody was, saying, oh, it has crossed it. But no, it has been closer to AGI, but it hasn't crossed it yet. But we do hope so that in coming years, researchers and the scientists are going to work around and maybe build something which is closer to human-like, and maybe in future it can understand our emotions, it can understand our, sarcasms or humor and everything more in detail. So yeah.
So ARC, is one for those who want to practice their their AI literacy and go ahead and look, because that's something that before, I think I'm pretty AI literate, but ARC is something that I knew, but I didn't grasp the concept until actually this conversation now. So I challenge you to go out there, and if you don't know already what that is, look it up and study it a little bit, because it'll give you an idea a little bit more about AI literacy. And let's kind of do a comparison. So when we're talking about AGI, we're talking something similar to what we would know as possibly C3PO in Star Wars, correct? Except
Yes.
C3PO he's a droid, but he has somewhat AGI capabilities.
Yes, somewhat up to a level that I do not know exact numbers, but when we say somewhat of AGI, we always say how much percent, like how close it has crossed the ARC benchmark. We always put a benchmark on it to understand how close it, and yes, it is indeed another example of it. But now when we say O3 model is more accessible to everybody, I would say. Now that is why it became a hype, because now I can use it, though it is not free. I have to pay for it, but I can still access it. Everybody can use it. It's going to help you in those complex mathematical equations, algorithm solving, everything there. So yeah.
So I think we're going to go over a little bit of time, but audience, if you have to jump off, completely understand, because I do want to cover this question about ethics. So what ethical and responsible impacts do we have to consider when thinking about AI enablement? Because this is really important, because we often don't think about the things that you're going to mention now.
Yeah, well, there are so many things, the bias, the privacy, and everything else. But the key thing that I really put more focus on is not everybody has to use AI. That's the first part. I will come to the ethical and that part as well. But the first thing I always want everybody to understand, not everybody has to use the latest version of AI model. Not everybody has to use the LLM model. Why am I saying this? Keeping the sustainability in the mind, because using a model, or the model that you have no idea how it has been trained. When I say trained, that particular model can use tons and tons of CO2s emits, which is somewhat equivalent to many cars lifetimes of emissions. So think of that particular model that you're using. It has been trained using the electricity that could have, light up other, cities out there in the world. So you have to think um, more thoughtfully, whenever you are using those large language models unnecessarily. Sometimes it happens, the organization, they do not need a large language model. A basic narrow AI model can also work for them, but they somehow, jump to a large language model just because other people are using it, right? So that's lame, but it is what it is. Now, coming back when you said the ethical and the responsible impact, in terms of that, I would say one of the biggest concerns that everybody has is the bias in AI models. Why? Because it can lead to some unfair outcomes. If you're using it in HR, then maybe it can lead to unfair outcomes in hiring, lending, or some other decision-making process. And another thing that I see is the transparency. Transparency is another issue for me, key issue for me. So people like me, we need to understand how that particular AI come to this decision, how this AI made that decision, especially when I am using this output in some high stake areas where I have to use this numbers that it has generated in front of people. For them, this number value something, right? For example, if I'm using this number in front of board members, so I need to make sure that these numbers are accurate, numbers are fact checked properly, right? So this is another concern of mine. But the researchers are working right now to tackle this transparency part. Or I also suggest sometimes people the chain of thought prompting technique to use while they are interacting with AI tool to understand what the thought process it went through. But it's going to be a minor impact. So, but still, the transparency is still an issue. I need to understand because it's still sometimes a black box. We do not know what content it has been trained on, in what depth, though everybody says that has been trained on the massive content, but still, yet it's still a question. And then, yeah, the emissions.
So Beth says, great advice on how to use niche and small language models with transparency and humans in the loop to ensure ethical and compliant AI for HR. Priya, are you connected with Beth on LinkedIn?
I guess so. No, I
No,
have
I
to
would
cross
connect
check.
with Beth. Beth White, she has an AI company called MebeBot.
Okay.
And so she's very knowledgeable also. And I think that you guys could get along very, very well. So
Yes, indeed. I will for sure connect with Pep. You will see me in your one of your DMs then.
So we can go ahead and take one more question. I do see a question from Vivek, but I think Vivek, you should connect with Priya. Just type in Priya Poonia on LinkedIn and connect with Priya to answer this question. And if anyone has any questions that we did not cover, or you want more to talk to Priya on your own, go ahead and follow Priya on LinkedIn. And then you can also book a one-on-one with Priya from her LinkedIn profile intro. There is a link to her to book a calendar invite with her. So Beth said she'd love to meet you, Priya. So connection made. Thank you, LinkedIn. We can go ahead and take one more question. Or Priya, do you have any questions for the audience?
Yes, I would love to know what tools they are using, how depth they are in already. I need to understand the literacy level of the audience as well, how curious they are, and what are the learnings that they are taking away from this session. I would really love to know that as well. You can drop either of us a personal message or in the comments that you did have this particular information as in, new thing was not aware of. So, yeah.
Thanks, Priya. Yeah, I'd like to know that too. So what were your key takeaways from the session? We did talk about a lot. We just scratched the surface on a lot of things. What would you like to know more about? And what models are you using? And how you're using AI? And what were the other questions? What is your level? What is your level of literacy?
AI literacy, I would say.
Air literacy,
Yeah.
yes. So again, please follow Priya on LinkedIn. It's Priya Poonia. And you can also book a one-to-one with Priya from her LinkedIn profile. March 19th, exactly 1 month from this moment, we are going to go live with Jesse Schofer of Stacked. And we're going to be talking about technology and the new operating model. So if that LinkedIn Live for Progressive HR Live is not up yet, so if you want an invitation from me when I go ahead and put that event live, the event page live, please go ahead and add a yes to the comments right now. And really quick, Vivek says, thank you, Kareen. And Sean says, thank you both today. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everybody. And then I think that is it. Priya, thank you so much for joining me today. And audience, thank you again we know that you're very, very busy, but we appreciate you engaging with Progressive HR and Progressive HR Live. Priya, anything you want to say in closing remarks?
Yeah, I would say thank you to you as well for hosting me. And I really love the audience. They are really curious about the topics, about learning the AI. And there are some people who are already, I guess so, quite aware of how AI works and the API calls. So I guess there was a really vast amount of audience and love the interaction coming in. And yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and then also if Michelle and Sam are still on, Michelle and Sam, I think you should connect with Priya as well. And thank you again, everyone. Really appreciate it. And I think we need to do this again, Priya, because I just feel like there was so much we covered, but then there's also so much we didn't cover.
Yeah.
So I want to connect again. All right, everybody, have a fabulous Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And if you have not already, go ahead and follow Progressive HR on LinkedIn. That's where we send all the live events we're having and all the clips and all the information that we're getting from these lives. And so, yeah, have a fabulous day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.